What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Another edition of the weekly sports card market update. Recording this one late on a Saturday. Usually I try to record these on Saturday afternoon, but today I went to the Washington, PA show in the old Washington Center Mall. 400 tables. Took me 3 hours to do one lap around the place. Couple thoughts. First, the show was packed. I mean, packed. It started at 10. I got there at 10:15, and I had trouble finding a place to park. It was hard almost to walk up to tables. The place was absolutely slammed. People buying, people selling, whole 9 yards. I made a couple of deals. I sold my 2017 Optic Football Mega that I bought about a year and a half ago on Black Friday. I think I bought that for about, I think those were on sale for $300. I sold it for $450 cash. It's funny. I went up to, I had only been in the show about 10 or 15 minutes. I walked up to my old pal, McCracken Cards, said, "Hey, are you interested in this?" I'm looking for $450. They're going for $500 to $525 on eBay since the AFC Championship game. And he said, "No, but if you want to toss it up on the table, no problem." I said, "All right." I said, "Put it back there. Ask $500. Take anything above $450. He said, "Okay, no problem." The box was on the shelf for, I kid you not, 30 seconds. Someone walks up. "How much on the Optic Mega?" McCracken says $500. Guy says $450. He side-eyes me. I just kind of shrugged and went, "All right." He said, "Deal." It literally sold in under a minute that it was out on his table. So I made a nice $150 profit. Threw him a few bucks, was a little tip for selling it from his table, and had 450 extra bucks in the pocket. Made one deal. Hung out with a bunch of friends, caught up with Logan, Great Sports Cards, a few other friends. Splenda Sports was there. Talked to him for a long time in the morning. Made one deal on a Game of Thrones auto. Natalie Dormer, Queen Marjorie. She's been in a ton of stuff. Guy had it stickered for $75. They do about $80 to $100 this particular one. I offered him $60. He took it. Good to go there. Pricing was, as usual, all over the place. Some stuff was way high. Some stuff was in line. And then there was a couple, like I said, I got a good deal on the one card that I bought. I almost pulled the trigger on some wax. There was a couple good prices on some Bowman Sapphire stuff that I was looking at, but just decided to walk out with my $450 in cash, plus the Game of Thrones auto, and call it a day. I will say, if you're pricing your cards, and I appreciate a dealer that prices their cards, can you at least be close to what the bins are listed at on eBay, or at least be reasonable enough that I even want to make an offer? I'm going to give you an example. Manny Ramirez, cut above. I believe it's 1997 is the cut above insert. I think it is, EX. It looks like a saw blade. Very popular insert set. I've been looking for a Manny Ramirez one. I got outbid on one a few different times. There was like a CGC 8 that I was bidding on a few months ago. Missed out. Whatever. I see it in the case. He has it stickered for $100. I went, that seems high. I don't remember. It's been a few months since I looked at one, but that seems way more than what I remember bidding. And I look it up on eBay, and there is a bin. There is a bin sitting on eBay for $57. And I look at his sticker at $100. I kind of wanted a card. I actually probably would have paid like $50, maybe even $60 for it cash, just because I just wanted one. And looked at a sticker and went, nah. When you're that far off, I don't even want to negotiate with you. Like, at least be close. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are you just hoping someone doesn't understand how eBay works? It is 2024. 98.9% of the people walking around the show floor understand how to look up cards on eBay. When the card on eBay is $40 cheaper. I could hit bin, pay shipping and taxes, and get it cheaper than what the dealer had it listed for. That's the stuff that frustrates me about going to shows. When you're that far off, I don't even want to offer. I just walked away. Splenda was with me. I'm sure he could fire off in the comments down below. I showed my phone to him, and we both had the same conversation about when, like, I don't even want to look at anything else on the table when I see one thing that far out of whack. So that was my little frustration point. But overall, other than that, good show. Good show. Sold something, bought something, got to hang out with friends for the morning and the afternoon. What better can you ask for on a Saturday? It's a beautiful day. You know, little sun's out, guns out. Good little drive, 2-hour drive. Nice, relaxing, chilled, listen to some podcasts. But yeah, very busy show. That's a 2-day show. It's going on again today. So I'll be curious to see, get reports. I know quite a few dealers that were set up to see how that goes. Before we forget, channel partner ComC, sponsor of today's video and sponsor of the weekly sports card market updates. The order that I sent them about a week and a half ago has, it was like 250 some cards, has been uploaded. Most of it's up already. I'm still waiting on like 5 or 6 cards. Most of it's up. Stuff has been flying off the old ComC store. I've already paid for the upload fee. And from here on out, the rest is pure profit. So if you're not using ComC, get rid of those cards that are laying around your desk. Get rid of them. You're like me. You're too lazy to list a bunch of standard envelope, little plain white envelope stuff on eBay. I get it. Pack them up, send them off to ComC. Sell them on there. And you could use the credit to buy cards for PC, cash it out for money, or use it for blowout credit. If you want to buy some wax and DGen rip. Not like a good old DGen rip. One last little housekeeping note. Fantasy Baseball League. There's 3 spots left. We are 9 out of 12 full. It's only a $3 league. If you want in, I will relink everything probably in the description of the video. If you want to pop in the league, I would like to do another one, maybe like a $5 or a $10 one. I just did this one to kind of get everyone's little feet wet here, late January heading into February. So if you want to hop in a Fantasy Baseball League, it's best ball, and it'll be a slow draft, so you don't have to worry about being online for a certain draft time. It takes 8 hours, or you could take up to 8 hours to make a pick. Let's run through some new stuff because it was actually a pretty busy week. I'm not going to harp on this. I did a whole video on it yesterday. You can go ahead and check it out. Gem rate numbers came out this week. Another absolutely massive month all the way around. PSA seems to be capping out at about 1.2-ish million. SGC had a record-breaking month. CGC had a big bump up from the show that they attended in Asia. And Beckett is just floating down there, grading 90s and autograph cards down there in 4th place, a distant 4th. We'll see what next month numbers look like. PSA had their little pricing shakeup with their new special. The old special ended this past week and crashed the website. People submitted so many cards on the last day, myself included. I have a 10-card order that is out the door. Dropped it off at the post office today. Video for that will be up sometime this week. I also got my PSA order back. My 18-card order, I got it back on Thursday afternoon. That video will probably be up Monday or Tuesday for you all to check out. Very interesting sub. 18 cards. There's some real bangers in there. I did a couple spoilers on the old Instagram. Actually, I already sold one of the cards out of there on eBay that I put up. Probably going to sell a second one today once I'm going back and forth with a potential buyer on another slab. But look forward to that video upcoming this week as well. I do not expect to get the second order back as fast. Their specials for this month are $16 baseball and $14 TCG, and then they rejiggered their prices on the higher end stuff as well, and turnaround times. This one, the rookie patch auto LeBron. I kind of have a whole side tangent I want to go on this, but I think I'm going to save it for a separate video this week. I'll just say this. This is one of those both things can be true. SGC handled this after the fact about as well as you could. Once they got caught with their pants down, they handled this about as best as you possibly could have. They had it reholdered, slabbed up. Within a day, they had responded. That being said, this should have never happened in the first place. This is not a Dorian Thompson-Robinson rookie patch auto that you're handling for 15 bucks a card. This is a LeBron exquisite RPA. Can we take more than 4 minutes on it and maybe do like a Google search on a monster card? You know, this isn't a Lucas Silver. It's not a Wemby. It's not a CJ Stroud Silver or color match or whatever. I mean, this is an absolute monster of a card. Can we take a couple extra minutes to research it? I don't think that is too much to ask. I don't think it is. The internet figured this out in about 30 seconds after you posting it. Maybe not necessarily that fast, but pretty darn quick. This is a well-documented fake. It is on all the databases. It's on Blowout. The Blowout detectives figured this out immediately. This should not happen. Should not happen. Not when there's information readily available like this. Now, if there was no paper trail on this one, I get it. I don't know, quite frankly, how a grading company is supposed to catch a swapped patch. And that's kind of what I want to talk about in a side tangent video. Because if the old patch is pulled out and the new patch is put in, and they have no visual reference guide on what the card ever looked like, in this case they did. They just didn't look, or they didn't look hard enough. But if the reference photo is not out there for what this card looked like, how the hell are they supposed to know? The patches are just glued in place. I've opened boxes where the patch is just falling out of the card. Go get like a $1 patch card that you got laying around from some random retail opening. Pull the patch out. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's so easy to pull them out, and I can imagine it's probably just as easy to insert another one into the card. Now, doing it on a card like this, you got to have a pair of brass ones on you. But that's neither here nor there. I can understand how they wouldn't be able to catch this if there was no visual reference. In this case, there was. That's the problem. So, listen, this is one of those things. We can give SGC hell for not catching this in the first place, and they absolutely deserve the flack. On the flip side, I could also give them a little bit of props for the way they responded to it, because they did respond to it well. Obviously, they wish it never would have happened, and it should have never happened. That's on them. They got to eat that one. But they responded extremely quickly. There's been situations like this in the past that a bunch of us have all talked about where Beckett just did nothing. Just basically refused to admit it. PSA would do something that make you sign 17 NDAs. So I'll give him a little bit of credit there. And like I said, maybe we'll take a little bit of a deeper dive on how we can fix this. Or I guess what I have is a call to action. But once again, we'll sidebar that and talk about it later this week. Other grading company nonsense. This is not necessarily card related. It is CGC related. I did a video on this. If you didn't watch it, go check it out. I'll just touch on this briefly. If you did not see the video, filter back to it. On the comic book side, I know, don't click off quite yet. But this is legit, like, what the hell is going on down there nonsense. A husband-wife duo at CGC. The husband was a comic book grader. The wife worked with something to do with eBay authentication and worked at shows. They were essentially stealing stuff. The guy was stealing stuff, redoing paperwork, making the submissions look like his, printing out printing out real labels that were, inaccurately graded, inserting them in the books that were lower grades to bump the grade up because they didn't like the grades they were getting. Go watch the video. It is scary stuff. This is on the heels of CGC having another massive scandal on the comic book side. They have got to get their act together down there. This is talking about taking one black eye. I just got done watching Rocky all day. Rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Talking about taking some punches to the face. CGC, get it together. Get it together. Fanatics and Topps continue their world domination. UFC is now part of Topps. They have a deal in place. I don't do anything with UFC cards. I don't even watch UFC, but I wanted to at least mention it here. UFC stuff will be coming very, very soon. They have already announced UFC Chrome It's up for, I think pre-orders may have closed already, but they had pre-orders up earlier this week. So if you're interested in it, go poke around. Another belt in the notch of Fanatics as they continue their world domination. Panini release schedule. Just a couple things I want to note. And the big one here is Prism Basketball officially releases on February 14th. We've had the retail teaser as blaster boxes have limped out into the marketplace. We're getting the full release in 2 weeks. February 14th can be crazy. Prism comes out on the 14th, and Top Series 1 comes out on the 14th. I'm still trying to formulate a plan on how I want to attack Series 1. I have 2 jumbos and 2 hobbies on pre-order from Topps Direct, and I am in various negotiations on getting a case of Series 1 jumbos. And if I get a case, I'm thinking, you folks let me know. Would you rather see me open the case broken up over the course of a couple different videos or lives? Or do we want the marathon live case break? It probably wouldn't take that long to open. But I'm not going to be like a breaker where I just burn through everything in 5 seconds. So do we want the full, if I get a case, do we want it split up across multiples, or the full, like either on Wednesday night, if I could get it on Wednesday, or that weekend, just sit down and just crank out a case of Top Series 1 and just kind of see what happens. Let me know in the comments down below how you think I should handle that. But Prism is a coming. Interesting thing on here, just a quick note, no select, no optic on this schedule yet. And this goes all the way through pretty close to the end of March. And same with football. No optic, no select on the list for football either. And that goes all the way through the end of April. Phoenix just came out. We have Phoenix H2, Rookies and Stars, Impeccable Zenith, Spectre Optic, or Obsidian, and Immaculate. So a little interesting thing to note there. Crazy one. A full case of 79 OPC hockey was found and is up for auction on Heritage. Currently at 1.6 million, well, just under 1.6 million. For those that don't know, this is the Wayne Gretzky rookie. Comes out of this. Insane fine. Don't worry, everybody. If you're concerned about it at all, don't be. It's BBCE wrapped. What could possibly go wrong?
We all got duped. Agreed?
Yeah. This is the biggest.
Speaking of nonsense, this was going around the old Twitter sphere, social media, Instagram, YouTube verse this week. A baseball prospect, Rich Rowland, never really made it to the majors, I don't believe. Basically admitted on video that he had thousands of autographs to sign and his dad signed half of them. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Dan the Cardman did a really good video on this, kind of breaking things down, and I agree with a lot of what he said in regards to, you know, I just don't know the best way for them to handle this, because they can't fly someone to every one. Like, there's a billion prospects, specifically like prospects in Bowman. You're not going to be able to hire, or you're not going to send an employee of Topps to every one of those signings. They hire people locally, a lot of times family members, and that's where things kind of go sideways. You know, he mentioned, like, do they have to video, should they video the signing session or something? I think maybe you could do something around video, but it would just be private between the signer and Topps, and then Topps would have it if anything was ever called into question, where, you know, the whole signing had to be recorded, even if it's not all done at one time. But everything that was signed had to be signed on camera or something like that. I don't know. But it's 2024. We're a pretty technologically advanced race. I would figure we should be able to figure something out to make this a little bit more secure. I had tweeted out and posted on the community post, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, the Browns backup quarterback. He has some silver prism autos that someone was selling a lot of 2 of them, and the signatures are wildly different on those 2 cards. wildly different. You can go find the post. There is no way in hell the same person signed both those cards. Here it is here. I just went ahead and found it and pulled it up. This one, DTR, and I mean, they're both signed DTR, but that signature looks nothing like that signature. I mean, it ain't even close. There is zero chance the same person signed both those cards. Zero chance. Now, I don't know if one of these is DTR and one of them's not. I don't know. I've never sat down and looked at his signature on something that I know was signed by him. But this is absolutely wild. So, good job. And it's not just a Topps problem. This is everybody problem. Let's go ahead and get into some charts and graphs. Market Movers, if you want to check it out, link in the description down below. Discount code, whole 9 yards. If you're on the fence, try it out. You get 2 weeks free. If you don't like it, cancel it. It's the best thing that I could tell you. It's not for everybody. You might like it. You might not. But if you want a true example, try it. You can always cancel. First up, football. Patty Mahomes. Like I said, I sold my Optic Mega. Maybe I moved it too soon. Maybe I moved it too soon. He continues to shove it in my face. His stuff over the last 30 days, to the moon. Well, not really to the moon, but up decent amount. Base Optic up 36%. Red and yellow up 20%. Nice card. Hashtag color match. Silver Prism up 28%. Optic Hollow up 35%. And you can see nice bumps towards the end of that graph as most of that movement happened over the last week. We have another week to marinate, and then we will see what happens in the Super Bowl. Seems like most people are on Team Mahomes because the Purdy man is actually down a little bit over the last 30. His Silver Prism is down 5%. His Optic Hollow is down 7%. His base Prism's up a bunch. Most of that just happened just yesterday on the last sale. So I'd have to double check that to make sure there's no nonsense or tomfoolery going on. Some of these have not sold for a couple days, so maybe the next sales that went off would be higher. But generally speaking, Purdy not seeing the massive jump ups that one Mr. Patrick Mahomes are. Part of that just could be the way that he had. It was very up and down last week against the Lions. Oh, pour one out, Lions fans. I'm sorry, man. That sucked. That really sucked. I was rooting hard for the Lions. I really wanted them to win over Brock. Brock sometimes looks like the best quarterback in the league, and then sometimes looks like Deshaun Watson. I mean, it's just, he is all over the place. But guy keeps winning. CMC, monster game, defense, whole 9 yards. Good team. Should be a fun game. Should be a fun game. We got another week to go on that one. On the flip side, Lamar. Boy, look at that blue take the old nosedive. They played like crap. Lamar Optic Hollow over the last 30 days down 20%. And in all honesty, if I just shorten this up, it's down way more if you bought, on the playoff run itself. But that thing fell right off a cliff. His base Prism is also down about 13%. So if you wanted to buy a Lamar dip, here it is. The problem is I don't know. I mean, he basically is probably going to win the MVP this year. It's going to take a lot for people to want to start pounding a bunch of money back into them after he had another playoff letdown. So I don't want to say he's like a toxic asset, but not for me. There are other people I would rather buy the dip on than Lamar Jackson. Let's finish up, talk a little basketball. No real baseball talk this week. I'm tired after being in the show all day. Let's talk some hoops. I only got one chart to pull up. I'm actually getting ready to watch the Cavs play the Spurs and the Lakers and Knicks play. Boy, the Knicks are on a tear. On a tear. Sadly, 76ers, Joel Embiid hurt his knee. As of time of recording, we do not know the extent of how long he is going to be out. I listened to some podcasts while driving down to PA today. That basically made it sound like it could be short term or it could be the entire season, depending on how this goes. That sucks. The side tangent to that is that he is no longer going to win the MVP, which means Joker's in the front, and right behind Joker and not far behind Joker is one Mr. SGA. He is having a hell of a season. This is over the last 90 days, which takes us actually just after the season started, not even right all the way to the beginning. Silver Prism PSA 10 up 44%, PSA 9 up 50%. For all those that say basketball's dead, SGA says, hold my beer. Thunder look amazing. Now, I don't know what they're going to look like when they get in the playoffs. The NBA playoffs, whole different bag of cats, especially a first year or a young team going to the playoffs for the first time. I don't know if I expect them to make the NBA Finals or anything crazy like that, but boy, oh boy, I would want no part of them as a Western Conference team. And the East is now going to be interesting, assuming the 76ers tail off a little bit. I would love if the Knicks and Cavs get to the 3-4 seed, because as a Cavs fan, I want no part of a rematch with the Knicks in the first round. No part. I do not want that. That series was absolutely miserable last year, and I want no part of playing a Tom Thibodeau team. No thanks. That team is built for him, and they are nasty. I meant to look to see. I have to imagine. I mean, Jalen Brunson stuff is up on the season already. I'd be curious to see if it's getting a bigger bump with this run that they have been on. Screw it. I just did it live. I looked it up real quick, and I was absolutely right. Over the last 90 days, he's up about 100% in a PSA 10. PSA 9's up 200%. $200 for a 10, $50 for a 9. And look at how much of that I was dead on right. Look at how much of that has happened over the last just few days. On 129, this card was going for about $150, $135. What do we got there? $142 in mid-January. Early January, it was sitting at around $125. Not much over, to be honest. As good as a season he's having, people are now just starting to notice. And then look at this. Boom, 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 boom to the moon. I don't know how high his stuff's going to get, but with it being that cheap and the way he is playing in the Knicks fan base, I wouldn't be surprised if he continues to climb up a little bit as well as they are playing. Especially, you know, football season's coming to an end. Super Bowl's next week, and then that goes quiet. Eyes are then going to turn to baseball and basketball. So we'll see if people all of a sudden kind of do, like, look at this Brunson and be like, wait a second, that's only selling for that much? He's having a hell of a season. So I wonder if we get some price corrections on some guys that are outperforming things. And then we'll see if baseball starts to get some buzz or not as we head into pitchers and catchers reporting any day now. So fun times in the sports world and the sports card world. If you want in fantasy baseball, hop in on the link down below. That is all I got for you, boys and girls. Catch you on the next one. Peace.